A very good evening, viewers. We're living in extraordinary times. Therefore, we have to take precautions. I'm wearing this mask to protect myself, my family members, and my neighbors. But because I'm in a safe environment, a closed environment, and I'm alone, I'm going to take off this mask for the rest of the discussion. The discussion today is about the Assam election and what will happen after the 2nd of May when the results are announced. The one question on everyone's mind, well, to find out, we at GPlus have done a sample survey, an online sample survey of 600 people, a tight sample, and we've got responses from across the state. While most of the responses have come in from the eastern, western, central Assam, and from upper Assam, we've had not too much of a response from the Barak Valley, but even then, we get a trend of how things are in certain constituencies. And then we also look at the bigger picture by getting a sense of how things are on the ground through our networks and also by people that have covered the election and have been covering the election for long enough to tell us what could be the possible scenario after the 2nd of May. To take us through our own exit poll and also how the bigger picture is going to look like, we have two experts, Mr. Shushanto Talukdar, a former correspondent of the Hindu and the Telegraph, and Mr. Abhijit Deb, who's with the UNI, two very good friends, and two people who have covered elections extensively across Assam and the rest of the northeastern state. So welcome, gentlemen, and let's see how our survey and what the bigger picture looks like and what you have to tell us. So as you see here, we have about, like I said, 600 people that have taken the sample survey. And interestingly, as you see here, 80% plus are males. And we have a very small percentage, 15% plus are females. And from the LGBTQ and the others, we've got a very small percent. That is, and if we break up the age, we see that in the 18 to the 30 years age group, we have most people, that is 59+% people who have responded. 30 to 45 age group, the next with 30% plus. Then we have 45 to the 65 age bracket and a small number from the 65 to the 85 age group. So this is how the respondents have responded in terms of the age breakup. This shows you the graph in terms of where we've had the responses maximum from, as you see, from Lower Assam, from Baksa, from Barpeta, from Bongaigaon, from these places, a bit from Chirang. These are the places who have responded maximum. There have been more responses from there. Then you see Upper Assam in the middle here, where you see a peak. Jorhat, that includes also Kamrup Metropolitan, a bit of Hojai, and later you see towards the end Sipsagar. So Upper Assam essentially has been reasonably good. And like I said earlier, we've not had very good response from the Barak Valley. So this is how the responses have been. And we hope that this at least provides us a trend of what the different districts are looking like if you're not really still getting the overall picture. But we shall come to the overall picture, I'm sure, at the end. Shushanto and Abhijit, from their experiences and how they've covered the election and the kind of sense that we get from the ground, I'm sure will give us an idea of what the overall picture looks like. I'd just like to also look at what the responses are saying from the trends that we've got. Just including Abhijit again. Abhijit had sort of his, I think, internet had gone bad. So Abhijit is back in the fold. So this is how the response has been overall from the sample. We have a 59.4% that is saying that the Mahajot, which is the Congress Plus Alliance, will win the election. But again, I'm repeating, and let's not forget, the sample is heavily tilted towards the Congress because most of the sampling responses have come from Lower Assam. And like I've said, a reasonably good amount from Upper Assam and of course the Kamrup the area under the Kamrup and Kamrup Metropolitan. 40.6% are saying BJP and others. So this is how it looks like. I would like to now just invite maybe Shushanta Talukdar first to tell us what he thinks of the kind of responses we've had, at least insofar as the response that has come in from primarily Lower Assam and Upper Assam, and also let's include Kamrup and Kamrup Metropolitan. Shushanta, please.
I'm Bidhak. Thank you for inviting me. And see, this is I just would like to start with a disclaimer. Exit polls will remain till the actual poll count. No? So and I have my reservation because of sample size, and also I'm not familiar. I mean, I've not been given what kind of questions were posed to the respondents. So a lot of things depends on the questions asked to the respondents. But even then, and that percentage-wise, what your exit poll has shown, of a very small sample of 600 respondents, is the Mahajot is poised to get the majority votes, and the Mitrojot, the ruling alliance, with 40.6%. But then the percentage doesn't tell everything in a tight contest. And what is missing here is the third force, that the regional parties, new regional parties. So when in many constituencies the contest is three-cornered, then the percentage of votes by one alliance may not reflect in the number of seats. So that so even with less percentage of votes, Mitrojot might come up with many more seats than, because Mahajot vote is poised to be more than the Mitrojot, because they have many parties together with the votes coming, vote share in spread all over the state. So that's what I think. So I will be a bit conservative in the estimates that this reflection of the percentage of votes, no, yeah, that may not reflect in yeah.
Right. We'll come to that. So, like I said before, it's a very tight sample, and there we've a percentage that's tilted towards the Mahajot, and most of the responses, like I've said, it's coming from only essentially two areas, that is the Lower Assam and the Upper Assam. Yeah. But again, you're right. We will look at the overall picture later, and where the regional parties definitely, and we are looking at them a little later in terms of the Assam Jatiyo Parishad, we are looking at the Rajya Dal, we are looking at the other parties that will also add up. You're right. And when it's a three-cornered contest, you're right, we're not really able to say how the votes have split up. So Abhijit, we've heard from Shushanta, and Shushanta is what essentially he's saying is, of course, a sample survey where we have a small size sample. That really also does not indicate the overall picture, and he's also talking about the percentage, because when we are in a three-cornered contest, again, the three-cornered contest throws up different numbers. And we have three-cornered contests, and in places, I think we also have contests that goes beyond three. Essentially, if you look at some areas where there are maybe 4 different candidates that are actually doing pretty well in one constituency, but that's not too many. But again, let's come back to how do you see the trend that we are getting in terms of, even if it is Lower Assam and even if it is a bit of Upper Assam and the Kamrup metropolitan area, which seems to suggest that the Mahajot, the Congress and its allies, are not doing too badly. Again, if you look at the respondents in terms of the parties here and in percentage, again, we have a high percentage that says Congress. That's almost touching a 40%, as you can see. And the BJP is around 15%. And then we have the AGP, which is about a 9%, the AIUDF next, and the none. A lot of people, apparently, at least from the responses, seem to have actually gone for the Nota, which is the none of the above. That is there in your ballot paper in the voting machine. Now, this again coming, I mean, just reiterating so that we know where the responses have come from. It does not really reflect the entire state as such, but it does reflect two important parts of the state and also the central area of Assam. Sushanta, can you sort of tell us in terms of what you think will eventually be the picture on the 2nd of May? Are we going to see a situation where our trend that's showing the Congress at least leading in some areas, or at least the Congress seeming to be doing better than the BJP and its allies, will be what will be the eventual the result, or do you see a neck and neck between the big NDA and the Mahajot, or do you see the BJP doing better, like many people are saying, and retaining power in Dispur?
Yes, I think the Mahajot is certainly going to do well in many constituencies. That is for sure, because the poll arithmetic itself will be an advantage in favor of the Mahajot in many constituencies, and that has made the contest very tough. But the what also makes it difficult for election watchers to come to a definite conclusion is again I say in the first beginning that the presence of the third force. I mean, how the AGP and Rajordal they perform in particularly in, see, we have to watch out in the first phase in this election, which accounts for 47 seats.
47 seats.
47 seats, and BJP and the AGP, they won 35 seats in 2016.
Right.
Congress and the AIUDF got 11, and one seat was won by an independent who eventually, before the election, assembly election, they joined the ruling alliance.
Sorry, I'm just stopping you there just to ask you this thing. So 35 in 2016, this time round, how many do you think the BJP can actually pull off in Upper Assam?
Yeah, I mean, I'll not be able to predict the numbers, but then what I am looking at is any number less than 30 will make it difficult for the ruling alliance. So, so the first phase is very crucial,
right?
And yeah, I believe any number less than 30 will make it difficult for the ruling alliance.
Any number less than 30 will make it difficult for the ruling alliance. Abhijit, your take on that?
Yeah, thanks. I have a lot of problems with this internet connection. It's pathetic. Anyways, I will go ahead. I will agree with Sushanta what he said. I think yes, any number less than 30 for BJP will be very detrimental to their effort to occupy this tour. I think on the other hand, I will talk a bit about Grand Alliance and other two parties who are in the fray in Upper Assam, especially Assam Jatiya Parishad and Raijor Dol and Congress. Look, here I think this elections one of the major thing which we need to look out on May 2nd is which party is getting how many seats in Upper Assam. It's an area I think many of us are many psephologists are concentrating on, as it has been told that there are 47 seats. BJP last elections in 2016 had won 35 seats. So it has been also said here in Assam that whoever scores well in Upper Assam ultimately occupies the seat in Dispur. So we need to really see it, and it's very interesting, Vidhayak. If you look at this year's projection or perceptions of voter, and it's very it's not very being very clear. I think one point we are all looking at is that Upper Assam was the epicenter of CA movement, anti-CA movement. How much it will have impact on the minds of the voters, that will play a major role. And many whom I have spoken to are saying that Upper Assam has a sizable silent voters. So
Yep.
these silent voters, which party gets their vote? Because there are three parties in the fray. I mean, who are suppose AGP, Raijordol, and Congress. They are in the fray. By silent voters, I mean the people who are supporting, who are against CA. Will they vote in that manner? So that is very crucial, and that will determine whether BJP crosses the 30 level mark or not.
Okay, so that's, I think, a very interesting observation which Abhijit makes. And before I bring in Sushanta, I would like Abhijit again just to sort of understand this, Abhijit. So what you are saying is the regional parties now, and especially the two new parties that have come up from the anti-CA movement, the AGP, the Assam Jatiya Parishad, and the Rajya Dal, you are saying, could actually make an impact. And I will tell you, we will come to that later. Our survey also talks about issues. We have a large percentage of people, more than 45% of the respondents have said that anti-CA is an issue.
Okay.
So are you therefore saying, please.
Yeah, I'm just making this point. No, look, anti-CA is an issue, but especially in parliamentary elections, we don't see any impact of it. And as many said, that parliamentary elections and state elections are different. So my contention is that in this election we might see an impact of anti-CA votes, which was not seen in 2019 parliamentary elections. So this may be a game changer for the Grand Alliance. I just have a little doubt about one thing, which is confused. This anti-CA votes will get divided into three parties. So whoever corners, if Congress is able to corner a major pie or major share of anti-CA votes, Congress will definitely fare better than their last in 2016.
I think that's
what they did.
And that's again a very good observation. I think that's a very good observation, Sushanta, you will agree, because anti-CA votes here will be divided. It depends on who's getting how much, and therefore also what is the final result, what is the picture that is unfolding in front of us. So Sushanta, in your experience, the way you've covered election, do you think this issue, which is so attached to our sentiments, do you think this will go towards one party, the Congress, or it will be divided amongst the regional parties and the Congress, if it does?
I think it will be split. It will be split, and because I don't know about the generalize the trend, but then the feedback after the first phase of election that I got from many of the electors who said that I never voted for Congress, but in this election I have voted for Congress, and that that particular voter attributed it to the CA. So the silent votes, as Abhijit has rightly said, that is going on the issue of CA. But I'd like to add a few points on, particularly in 2019. I would like to contest the claim that CA was not an issue in the 2019. See, BJP won majority seats, 9 seats out of 14 Lok Sabha seats in CA. In 2019, when CA was made a major issue by the Congress. But we cannot forget, AGP also polled 14 lakh votes, and AGP went to the Lok Sabha election on the issue of CA. So that votes were against CA in 2019 also. And that is where the BJP's vote is lies.
Right.
And in the first phase, out of 35 seats, AGP secured 8 seats. And when Bidak, you rightly mentioned that the Eastern Assam and Northern Assam states witnessed vigorous anti-CA movement. So these 8 seats in the first phase won by the AGP, and in 2019 also 14 lakh votes polled by AGP on the issue. See, AGP went to the poll only on the issue of Ka, and then it was not in Ka. I mean, the act was not passed, and then still people had hopes. Hopes were, the AGP also gave hopes that by resigning from the government and then going to polls, so people had hopes in AGP, and then we didn't have the presence of the new political parties.
Right.
So the same force they could not believe in Congress as a credible force to push anti-Ka movement. So that anti-Ka votes were there also in 2019,
Right.
and then that vote is going to be transferred this time to the opposition Mahajot and the regional parties.
Right.
And you are right. We do not know how it is going to split up. That is why it is becoming difficult for it to arrive at a number or definitely say, yeah.
To the
But
situation,
then I believe even for the AJP and the Rajadol, the votes, anti-Ka votes may be split between the Congress, Rajadol, and the AJP.
right.
And Rajadol will eat into votes of Congress, anti-Ka votes of Congress, and then AJP is going to eat into the votes of the AGP.
Right.
So
the AGP eats into the votes of the AGP, and the Rajya Dal eats into the votes of the Congress. And you can see, I mean, so I think this sample survey that we've done, it's an online survey, like I've said, the margin of error is there, but still it vindicates from what you all are saying that the anti-Ka issue could actually play a part. And here we see from whatever trends are available, the AJP and the Rajya Dal are not doing too badly. They are there. And these numbers can only but increase. So therefore, I think these trends that we see, so just let's look at the vote share. If we look at the vote share of the BJP and the Congress, in 2016, the vote share of the BJP plus its alliance, and remember that time the BPF was 41.9%. The BJP gained 60 seats and they got a total of 86 seats. The Congress had 31%. So therefore, now for the BJP to really form the government without the BPF, it has to do better than the 41.9%. If it remains at 41.9%, and I believe less, then the BJP will have a tough time and cannot form the government. So this is how the vote share is really looking from at least the survey that we've done and from also the sense we get from the ground. Abhijit, your take on this?
Look, in 2016 elections, if you talk about the vote share between Congress and BJP, there is not much of a difference. I mean, you are showing it's BJP plus Congress didn't have so much of partners there in 2016. They went alone without AIDF. So if you add up to the AIDF vote percentage, I think it will come more or less same. But the problem is that
AIDF had 13%. So if you add 13%, yes,
13%, yeah. So it is much more when it's greater than BJP's vote share. But the problem is that I think Congress in 2016, it was facing huge anti-incumbency, huge anti-incumbency. The things were then there was a Modi wave. Which held BJP, but in the vote share, if you see in 2000 election, also Congress has not lost out of the traditional vote bank so much. If you see correctly, analyze if you analyze the thing, Congress is between this 31%, 35%. I think 2000. I am not sure of 2011 vote share. It will be what BJP gained in all constituencies. BJP's striking rate. I mean by striking rate, I'm using cricketing terms. So it's a striking rate. The strike rate among voters, the concentration of voters, the polling where happens, where there is a concentration of BJP supporters. I think that translated much more in BJP's favor, other than Congress losing out mostly on on their vote percentage. What I'm trying to say is that, the concentration of votes for BJP, their supporters, were polled in en masse towards BJP. I think that also helped the cause for BJP last time. This time around, if you take AYDF and Congress together, they're even Stevens. There are not much of a difference here. So I think looking at vote share, we won't be able to come to such a conclusion that who wins how many seats this and this time it will be a cliffhanger. We all know about it, and we all, the projections are like so. So in my view, I think if Congress increases its vote share from earlier, from 2016, 31%. So if there is suppose a swing of votes by 3-4%, Congress will do very well. If you think so, if there is a vote swing towards it, towards Congress, because in electoral politics, 3-4% of vote swing means it's very favorable for the parties.
Absolutely.
So we need to see whether Congress will be able to swing that votes in their sides. That is a $1 million question now.
I want to bring in Sushanta here. Abhijit says that whether Congress will be able to swing those votes towards their side. They had 31%. They need more, definitely. They need the magic figure of 64 seats. But BJP on its own, Sushanta, if they get 50 seats, and then they have the UPPL and they have the AGP, do you think that will be enough for the BJP to form the government?
That will be a bit difficult. They might have to look for more numbers, and that's what has, if they are not able to retain their number, they won in 2016. So, we also have to look at the vote share in the seats contested. Hello? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, please go on.
Yeah. So we also have to look at this, the votes. So BJP secured 42.12% votes in seats they contested, and the AGP won 33.37%. So when we look at the overall vote share and the seats, the votes in the seat contested, that makes a difference. Similarly, the Congress vote share in seat contested and overall seats is more or less same, 31 and 32. So Vijit is right. If Congress has to get numbers, its vote share in seats poll as well as overall vote share has to go up significantly. And as I said, that is where the AGP securing 33.37% votes in seats contested. That is also the gray area for the ruling alliance. That's where the BJP's vote lies. So if this sizable votes gets transferred.
And remember, the BPF is not part of the alliance this time.
No, BPF is not part of this. BPF won 12 seats last election. So, but BJP on its own, it is looking at retaining the numbers. Its confidence build up from the vote share in seats contested last time. 42.12 is quite a big percentage. That is where its confidence lies in retaining the number. But it is unsure about the performance of the AGP. It is unsure about the performance of the UPPL, and the BPF is no longer with them. That is where the journey to the Dispur is being overshadowed by the grand alliance of the opposition, where BPF has become a major factor.
So from the trends that we've got, at least from the sample survey, like we're saying again, see, a large part of the votes come from Lower Assam, the second phase and the third phase. The first phase we know is important, but a large chunk of the votes come from there, the number of seats. So we see that the responses that we've got from Lower Assam, the responses that we've got, whatever responses from Barak Valley, and Abhijit can actually take us through Barak Valley, he's been there and he's seen it. We see that people there are actually voting on an emotional issue, the NRC and the CAA. And therefore, the likelihood of a Congress and the Mahajot really leading the race becomes that much more. And this is what our trends are showing. BJP, like we've discussed on its own, has to get more than 50 seats. And like you see here, the AGP and the UPPL has to bring in the other numbers to make it 64 plus for the BJP and its alliance to form a government. We don't know what the BPF will do eventually, which side they will go, although they are still part of the alliance. But that's another story. Abhijit, what about Barak Valley?
Look, if you talk about Barak Valley, there are 15 seats. I think last time BJP had won a major share of it. Congress and AIDF, all both of them, contested alone. They were not partners. This time, AIDF and Congress alliance is making a lot of difference in Barak Valley politics. And I tell you, if you take Kachar and Karimganj districts, and if you take the percentage of Muslim voters and Hindu voters, there will be a microscopic polarization. There is no two way about it. In Barak Valley, you will see a microscopic polarization. I think Kachar belt, where Hindu population is in majority, BJP will get some seats. Will hold on to some seats. Possibly, I can give you numbers. If it will be too dangerous for me, but still I will hold my neck out. It is, I think, BJP can at best do their 5 to 6 at best. They can.
So which means that the AIUDF will do better this time in Barak Valley.
AIUDF is going to do better this time. I think. Another major factor I'm giving you an example of a constituency where is called Sunai, where repolling has been ordered, and which was in the news for all wrong reasons. Yeah, and from where BJP Deputy Speaker, BJP's minority face Aminul Islam is contesting. He is contesting an AIDF contestant called Borbuya, Kamaruddin Borbuya. There he is facing a stiff challenge. I don't know whether he will sail through this time. It looks very unlikely this time. So this place, why I'm talking about Sunai is it's in the heart of Kachar district, and it's very near adjacent Silchar area, town area where is a majority chunk of Hindu population. Sunai also has some Hindu population, but it's the majority of them are in Sunai constituency. The majority are Muslims. There are around 30 to 40% Hindus. So, in fact, if you will, why I'm talking about this constituency, in Barak Valley or in southern Assam, the voting pattern is going this way. Where Hindus are in majority. Suppose in many seats, like I can talk about a seat called Kathigora, where Gautam Roy, the former Congress cabinet minister, is now he's with BJP, and he is contesting from Kathigora constituency, where the margin of votes, the margin of winning or losing will be a mere 500 to 600 votes, 700
Sorry,
votes.
can I stop you? Can I stop you there and ask you what is the reason? Are the reasons?
I'm just coming to the reason. The reason is that the distribution of population, Hindu-Muslim population. And in most of the constituencies, most of these seats, there are a thin margin between Hindu-Muslim population. And why I am saying so? Because there are many seats, where constituencies where both Hindu and Muslims are more or less in the similar numbers, but maybe 1 or 2% higher, 3% higher on Hindu side or Muslim side. So that will decide the course of Barak Valley politics now. No, but there is also a question. There is a thin line, because if you look in Barak Valley, there are two districts. Kachar district, where Hindus are in majority, and Hailagandi, Karimganj, where Muslims are in majority. In Kachar district, BJP, Congress is not going to benefit much, which I see. That is for sure, because in fact their partner, they partnering, Congress partnering with AIDF sends a very wrong. I mean, there is a perception among Hindu, Bengali speaking Hindus out there that they will be outnumbered some days, and so they are voting on their fair pattern, on a fair factor, that someday they will be overwhelmed by Muslim population, and that card which BJP also plays there.
All right. So we got that.
So that,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I got that.
So that is the main reason. So candidates in Barakville in many areas won't matter, and the voting will be on religious line. There is no two
So
about it.
Barak Valley, Abhijit says microscopic polarization on religious lines. That's very clear. Just a little message here. We just have 3 minutes left. We'll have to log back at 2 o'clock, but just let's use the 3 minutes. Let me just give the editing space. Sushanta, to bring you back into the discussion, if Barak Valley goes along religious lines insofar as voters are concerned, what do you think is the trend? And you've seen some trend that we've given to you in Lower Assam, where a large section of we have a lot of Muslim votes in Lower Assam as well.
See, in Barakville, BJP won 8 seats in last time, 2016. 8. So, and what Vijit has brought to the fore is the polarization if it happens. And that's what BJP also tried. Even in the campaign by Amit Shah and all, they all campaigned on the issue of Azmal, the fact that the fear or apprehension around Azmal's rise in Assam politics. So I think the number in Barak Valley, if it reduces for the BJP, then certainly it is where the survey is showing that it's going to get lesser number of seats this time. So that number will be crucial.